Hello, wonderful person. This is the Prosper Plus podcast. I'm Cindy James, and I am dedicated to sharing myself, my decades of training and experience, and my healthy sense of humor so that you can truly prosper, so that you can flourish, strengthen, grow, and thrive plus. Let's dive into the eternal now, where prosperity pulsates and play a new way of life into being. Buckle up, dear one. This is the Power of November. And in this podcast, I'm going to be sharing two perspectives on how to get through this month while just feeling so good about who you are and being a force for positive change in the world. And Lordy, we need some lightness of heart to do that. So let me start with some lightness of human heart to begin. So there are holidays or days that humans have called things we're going to commemorate during this month days. I don't know if that was good English, but I like saying it. November 1st starts with All Saints' Day, and that is also the part of the 2-day celebration of the Days of the Dead, de Dios de los Muertos. And November 2nd is Plan Your Epitaph Day. Now, I didn't know this before looking up the holidays in November, but plan your epitaph. I love that. What would you want written on your tombstone? Assuming you have a tombstone, on your urn. What do you want someone to say in one sentence as they're scattering your ashes or burying them under a tree? Just take a moment, dear one, and breathe in and out and think about that. And if you have a pen and paper, you might want to even write it down. I remember the first time I was asked that question, or the first time I remember being asked that question. I was a law student interviewing for a law job when I graduated law school. And I was being interviewed by the corner office senior partner in the litigation department, which is what I wanted to do, to be a litigation attorney, trial attorney. And it's what, in fact, I did for a number of years. And he said to me, "What do you want written on your tombstone? What do you want your epitaph to be?" And I thought for a minute. I thought, well, here goes this job, because I'm certainly not going to lie and think it's about being a good lawyer, because, I mean, that's what I wanted to do in my human existence, but it wasn't my reason for coming to the planet. It wasn't my legacy. And so I said this: she was loved and loved with all her heart in return. And that was a turning point in that interview, and we had such an honest conversation about the values of being human. And I've recently remembered that, probably in the last few months, and I would upgrade that now, and I would just say that she radiated love. I realized in my 20-something tombstone that she was loved, and loved in return was a little bit needy and codependent-y, and was a little bit this for that, a quid pro quo, as we might say with Latin. And I would what I know now is that I am love personified. And oh, it is such a joy to give and receive love. But there's a wonderful quote that goes something like this. Oh my gosh, and I have it right in front of me. I love when that happens. This is a quote from Meher Baba, the Indian spiritual master of the last century, avatar of the age, and my guy for all sorts of inspiration and consciousness awakening. And Baba said, "When the mind encroaches upon the province of the heart, it does so by requiring assurance or conviction as a precedent condition that must be fulfilled before there is a release of love." Ooh, I'm going to read that again. When the mind encroaches upon the province of the heart, it does so by requiring assurance or conviction as a precedent condition that must be fulfilled before there is a release of love. And I tell you, that is kind of what my original tombstone was going to say. Once she loved, or was loved, she would love in return. That was my mind encroaching upon the province of the heart and slowing down or putting a veil between my soul, my heart, and another being here on the planet. That requiring assurance or conviction as a precedent or precedent, we don't even say condition, that must be fulfilled before there is a release of love. I like the epitaph being, she radiated love. She was radiant love. She went for being love personified. She tried her best. I have a dear friend who was one of my lawyer friends in the early days of my practice of law, and I just recently visited him and his wife in one of their beautiful places they get to inhabit. And I loved when we went out to lunch, he would always order like dinner for lunch, like turkey and gravy. And as a new lawyer, I tell you, the hours between 2 and 4 were god awful for trying to stay awake. I mean, it was coming from the college law school rhythm or lack of rhythm. And also my body and my biorhythm just wanting a nap after lunch. So when we would go to lunch, I mean, I was a lawyer in the 80s and the 90s. I don't practice that kind of man-made law anymore. I like to say I practice universal law now, so much better. Everybody wins. And I don't have to, doing my job doesn't give me irritable bowel syndrome in some sense that I'm not enough. It brings me more health and vitality in my body and that sense that I'm infinite. But I have great compassion for lawyers and my lawyer friends. And my friend would always get like these heavy dinners for lunch. And I'm like, how are you even going to stay awake this afternoon? I mean, I'm going to have to pull my nose hairs out just to be able to sit there and do my work. And he was and is an extraordinary human being. And I said, this could be on your tombstone. And I said his name. And I said, he had dinner for lunch. And you know what? He loved it. We had such a good laugh because that was so pithy and simple. And whether A, he's going to have a tombstone, and B, whoever survives him would put it on, I tend to doubt it. But how great is that as a tombstone, too? A touch of lightness of heart and about someone's character and their willingness to be themselves. So there are also other things that we humans have called days in November. November 6th is National Nacho Day. I'm pretty sure it must be U.S. National Nacho Day. I believe that nachos with a close runner-up to pizza, depending on the quality, are my most favorite comfort foods ever. And when my parents moved to Texas the year before I went to law school, and we discovered Mexican food, or I guess it's Tex-Mex. I mean, what I discovered was melted cheese on crispy chips with salsa and jalapenos. That, to me, is heaven in a food. And so, November 6th, National Nacho Day. I shall celebrate it that way. There is, on the 8th in the U.S. General Election Day. I'm going to invite you and me to take what I call 360-degree breaths, breathing in through your nose, out through your nose or your mouth, letting your eyes close in this moment and letting your gaze go to the space between your eyebrows, known as the Ajna chakra, relaxing your jaw and your shoulders. Don't have them hunched forward or craned back, just straight. Have your chin parallel to the floor or parallel to the vertical spine of your body. Letting go of any tension in your pelvic floor. Don't be squeezing your butt. Relax it. And as you breathe, know that you're taking in nourishment for your human experience. which is one that has been created to experience this game of seeming separateness and to enjoy the miraculous freedom and delight that comes from awakening to our oneness. And I call this 360-degree breathing because prana is life force energy. It's beyond this world, but is in this world in such a purified form. It's continually birthed into our cosmos, and it rides on oxygen molecules. And when we breathe in through our nose, we're sending that life force energy into our body and directing it to where we need it, into the thoughts of our mind, into our emotions, into the cells of our body, into the organs and the organ structures, into the energy centers or vortexes, into the energy that emanates from us. And we can do that too by 360-degree breathing, calling with your intention, which is your divine force, to have that energy ride in even through your skin, the top of your head, your hair, your arms, your belly, your back, your legs, your feet. Bringing in maximum energy for you. And oh, sweet Lord, or however you know the greater, do humans in the US and across this planet need an infusion of pure, creative, life force oneness energy when it comes to the business of being elected or electing? And I tell you what, whether it was in Catholic school days when you were choosing a captain for the basketball team and then being chosen for the teams, that's pretty much hell on earth, I think, for most human beings. Even the ones chosen as captain or doing the choosing. I tell you, when we're in this energy of winner and loser, of better and worser, what you get from that level is only relief from the desperation of being chosen. And it shoots you right back into what's called, in spiritual terms, the universal vicious circle of immature love. And what that immature love is, thinking that something outside of yourself is going to fulfill you, is going to bring you that feeling of alive serenity, of that being radiant love, rather than having someone have to love you first before you release your love. And it is such a part of this game of forgetting we're infinite and remembering. It's why it's a universal vicious circle. You're part of the universe. You got it until you don't. And it's vicious because it's not fluffy. It's not a cotton candy circle of immature love. It is vicious because it takes us so far away. It takes us on a wild goose chase, a vicious circle with many different facets that I won't get into right now, that leads us and shoots us right back into that original love demand that you do something first before I love you back. Great game, soul. Great game, greater. And we are waking up now. All right, so we were just breathing pure life force into the election process. Let's go into what November 9th is. November 9th is World Freedom Day. I don't know that I've ever heard that before. I looked it up, and I don't know that people are celebrating it. But let's have a moment for the number 9, because November actually comes from the Latin root meaning 9. And if you've been following my Power of the Month series, that the original Roman calendar was just 1 through 10, and it started in March because January and February were a wasteland of no harvesting, nothing to do. I'm sure there was plenty to do, like survive and all that kind of stuff. But the official calendar started in March. And they were originally given, each of the 10 months was given the Latin root name for it, until some emperors and Roman gods were, I don't know if I want to say usurped, sounds a little victim-y, but were changed from the numerical order into that. Like July being from Julius Caesar and August being Augustus Caesar, his nephew. Oh, and also June having to do with Roman god. And the number 9 is an extraordinary number right now for you to bring into a full awareness of the impact in your body and in what you personally need right now, and what everyone and everything on this planet, including the golden planetary Mother Earth herself, is ready to experience. 9. So 9 is a number that I use in something that is called pranayama. And pranayama just literally means breath and Sanskrit and breathing processes. And I have learned from one of the many spiritual masters that I get to study and learn from and be part of the spiritual community of, a woman named Sri Karuna Mai, also known as Amma. Amma just means mother, and Baba means father in many languages. Baba can also mean grandmother, I believe, in Polish or Czechoslovakian. But in the more Indian or Sanskrit levels, you would call someone that was a leader for you, feeling that comfort of unconditional love that we seek outside of ourselves until we realize it's within us, Dorothy, and it has been all along. But Amma Sri Karuna Mai, I've been gifted to be in her presence, and I want to tell you, she's the real deal. Whew, what an extraordinary blessing to have been in the radiance of love personified. And she guided the group on one of the 3-day experiences I was part of in pranayama through the number 9, like 9 breath cycles. And I don't know from a conscious mind level exactly what that signifies or signified to her and in that moment. But what I know was it brought me a sense of security in my human form, and my mind, my fearful ego mind, simmered the shit down. Simmer down now, as the characters on Saturday Night Live used to say. And 9, what I know now from my advanced trainings in pranic healing, is represents the sex chakra. The second chakra, as we know it, is actually the 9th chakra in a 12 chakra system. And it has to do with the Kabbalistic or the mystic branch of a certain faith. Could be Judaism. There's all different ways that people quantify this, so I'm not saying this is absolute truth. It's just how I interface with it. But the second chakra, or the 9th chakra in the Kabbalistic tree of life, is known as Yesod, Yesod, which translates into foundation. And I invite you in this moment to breathe into that chakra, 2nd or 9th, depending on the number, but it resides right above your pubic bone. And it is a spinning vortex like petals of 2 shades of red and orange. And it spins, and it can open like a flower. And just attend to it and notice it right now. And as you breathe, I invite you to breathe into that center, which means sending that prana with your imagination, which is the steering wheel of your divine infinite force, What you imagine is how you create. Send that prana, or that pure, cleansing and revitalizing energy, to your yesod, to your space, that spinning vortex, wheel of life. And this center in your physical form and your energetic form has everything to do with your vitality, with your passion, with your creativity, with your pleasure, your sensuality, and your natural, divinely orchestrated and designed sexuality. And as you do this, know that this center of your physical form is being cleansed and revitalized. All right, dear one, I'm just going to go quickly through the rest of these holidays because I wanted to prepare us for the energy of November that is, oh my goodness, an opportunity of a lifetime, of multiple lifetime, of centuries even. So I'm going to go to November 10th is Forget-Me-Not Day. And that was my dear precious mama's birthday. She skedaddled almost 6.5 or 7.5 years ago. You know you're healing when you're not marking it by the directed number of days without, and it just merges then in the appreciation for the love and the light that is ever present. Thank you, Mama. It's also U.S. Marine Corps Day. I know that too because my brother is a veteran from the U.S. Marines, and they would have a ball or a gala, and they still do on that day. November 21st is False Confession Day, and I did not look up what that means, but I can tell you, I gave so many false confessions to priests as a young child, in second grade plus, because when I received my first Holy Communion and my Sacrament of Reconciliation, we would go in Catholic school once a month for the sacrament with the priest, and we needed to confess our sins. And sweet Lord, I don't know what I was doing at age 7, but I felt that I had to have at least 3 sins in order to get through the day. And if you've been following my podcast series, you've heard this story before, but I have to laugh with delight that November 21st is False Confession Day. Now, I'm just feeling right now energetically that it might be supporting the people that were coerced into false confessions in a legal sense and then were incarcerated for that reason, which is on the continuum of the Catholic false confession. And so let's all radiate the power of truth coming to the fore for all of us. November 22nd is World Hello Day. Hello, hello. This is being recorded in the year known as 2022. So that would be 11 for the way we quantify now, 11/22/2022. World Hello Day. Hello, world. Like Horton hears a who. We hear you. You exist. Everyone. Can we take this moment and open up our souls and the light of our soul, which really does connect us to everyone and everything, and say hello to every sentient being, including the planet herself, and say, hello, I see you. I feel you. You matter. How you feel matters. What you long for matters. And I will say to you, dear wonderful person, You matter to me. There is no way that we are separate. That is a physical, energetic, spiritual, material impossibility. And I'm grateful to be in this energy, in this eternal now that supports the fleeting now with you. Of course, there's U.S. Thanksgiving Day. There was a show on ABC, I think, a sitcom years ago. I think it only had 2 seasons, but my youngest offspring and I absolutely loved this show. We delighted in it. We thought it was hilarious. And the first or second, I don't remember which season's Thanksgiving episode, the really old school grandmother and grandfather come to visit for Thanksgiving, and they are ripe with all sorts of stereotypes and prejudices and oppressive energy of all sorts. And it does help make light of any family experiences I ever have or will have. And the grandmother comes with these awful Thanksgiving sweaters for the 3 children of the stars of the show. Were a family, a mother and a father and 3 children. And the oldest daughter is like 16. And the grandmother gives her this hideous sweater with pilgrims and Native Americans on it. And she makes this comment, "Oh, thank you. I've always wanted to wear genocide on my chest." And I tell you, I think that was the moment that I woke up to the origin of Thanksgiving, that the denial lifted, and it lifted through the ridiculousness of that and the laughter of how she presented that to her old school grandmom. And I found that clip, and it still makes me laugh with delight of the fact that we can wake up to that. And the gratitude then that can impress that day for the fact that we can evolve and grow. And I believe that for that day to inhabit the potential it could really inhabit in the United States of America, and anyone that is influenced by the country in which I live and was born into, that gratitude can only come when we give ourselves the freedom to make amends, as they would say in the recovery world. To do a heartfelt, "I didn't know, but I know now." Let's make it better for all of us. And it is my personal opinion that that is not nearly being done at the level that behooves everyone and everything. You know, when I was a young Catholic, I now call myself a Catholic Buddhist Baba lover if I have to define myself by religion, which I really don't want to define myself by that. I think religion is awesome if it brings you more freedom. And it did me for a very long time, and it still does when I go to Mass or any other spiritual rituals or ceremonies. But to the extent as a human that I think that there is only one way or one group that has the secret magic formula to awaken to the divine and be love personified in the energy of the oneness, oh boy, I believe I suffer and we all suffer. Some compassion for all of us. There was a song, as I was saying, that was from the perspective of Jesus. And the line was, "That you do to my brother, you do unto me." I'm going to try and sing a little bit of it. When I was hungry, you gave me to eat. When I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. Now enter into the home of my Father. Whatsoever you do to the least of my people, that you do unto me. Oh Lord, I'm feeling the tenderness of that right now. And when we can feel the angst and anguish of our fellow beings, whether it be the smallest creature or the planet herself, I believe then we can inhabit that energy, that Christed light or Christ consciousness, and start to take care of ourselves, others, and those on this precious planet with that awareness of it affects us all. I like to use this analogy that came to me years and years ago. I've always been interested in cancer and how to heal cancer. I think that was in my consciousness as early as age 11. And where was the energetic miracle healing of cancer? And that has always been part of my bailiwick. And I will say this. I've always wanted to write this book, and who knows, I've always wanted to make a book of book titles. and like Kramer and Seinfeld, who had a coffee table, book of coffee tables, I am now finally writing these things down in my notes on my phone to make this book of book titles. But here's the book title. Cancer doesn't know it's suicidal. Because what it does is, especially the metastatic form of cancer, it keeps putting shoots out and gathering more strength and building its fortresses and becoming the king of the castle. I'm going to sniff a little because of the tears. And then, poof, it kills its hosts. And so it's like the ego does this amazing job. The ego is defined as the affirmation of separateness. And we need a healthy ego to survive so we don't like run into walls and drive off cliffs and all of that. And we feed and clothe ourselves in a life-sustaining way. But the healthy ego surrenders itself to the oneness, surrenders itself to and serves the greatest, the most maximum expression of the personality of the soul having a human experience. And so, just like the cancer doesn't know it's suicidal, when any one of us, and especially those of us on the planet that have more human power, I'll put that in quotes, or the ability to move themselves or objects or others in time and space, when they do that, trying to gather and reinforce their own mind, my precious, like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, it's eventually sending them on a path of destruction. They are already on that path because they're already strangulating off parts of themselves that affect their well-being mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, familially, relationshiply, financially, governmentally, and more. I list all those aspects. I believe that it's our attitude towards our experiences here on the planet and our perspective towards it that makes all the difference in our health, happiness, harmony, and prosperity plus. So gratitude galore, forgiveness galore, and actually being a force for a new way. And then the last day that I'm going to talk about is November 30th, which is Stay at Home Because You Are Well Day. I so believed in that. I gave my children mental health days all the time, just to have some well-being. And it's also the birthday of my younger brother, the one that was in the Marines. And he is my Irish twin. We are 11 and a half months apart. And if you haven't checked out our Wonder Irish Twins series, the Wonder Irish Twins, on YouTube, and the podcast as well. There's the audio version. Check it out. He's an extraordinary man. And he and we are devoted to elevating the conversation among family and friends and really going for the imagination current, creating a better life for ourselves and others. And to do that with respect and reverence and laughter, and to dissolve the insidious pride and shame that keeps us from jumping into our soul rights here. Okay, now you've been buttered up. The peanut butter jar has been loosened for you now to receive the incredible import of this month. Importance, what's coming in, being literally imported for you personally, and the fulfillment of your wildest dreams plus, and being imported for everyone and everything in this planet, on this solar system, on this planet, in this solar system plus. And that is the energy that is inhabiting and being imported into this month by universal creative design is like nothing we've seen in our lifetimes. November itself, and it doesn't matter what hemisphere you're in, northern or southern hemisphere, is the energy of great transformation, full transformation, whether it is in the northern hemisphere, that of dying and laying dormant until after the winter, then the spring, new life and new birth coming. Our planet right now, every November supports death and rebirth. And oh boy, on an astrological basis, on a galactic basis, are we in what I'm calling the crossroads of our soul. And in this month of November, unprecedented in our lifetime, and not since the time of the American Revolution in the 1700s and in the early 1800s, have the stars and planets aligned for us to tear down old suppressive ways of being and build a new, more enlightened way. And it is intense. And the energy of the ninth or second chakra, the yes side, the foundation, the equator, the equipoise, that is what we want to hold on to right now. Our ability to create a life that is pleasing and pleasurable and rich and abundant for ourselves and for everyone and everything. This universe is one of infinite supply. There is not emphatically a limited pie that we get to carve up and accumulate. That is an old way of thinking and being that is being dissolved right now in this moment with me and you, and in the eternal now for everyone and everything. You know, the ego, that affirmation of separateness, fusses over change, wants to hold on to tradition and nostalgia as a way of feeling secure, but holy good night, that is a sham. Don't be believing that voice. Life is change, and the true pleasure is in embracing that change with the faith that comes from your infinite soul and your amazing, human, hugely compassionate heart. Creation itself is love in motion. Love in motion is light, it's vibration, it's color, and it's thing. And in your body right now, you have trillions of cells that are just in motion. Even the ones that are dying are in motion. So right now, you have an opportunity to tune out the panic of the ego that is being hollered, broadcast across this planet, in your communities, in your families, and perhaps in your mind at times. Tune out that station and tune into the pure vibration of the oneness of infinite knowledge, infinite power. And that infinite power does not smite and is not ever smitten. Infinite bliss, infinite prosperity plus. Oh. Take in this truth and hold on to it with both energetic and physical hands. You are an infinite being having a human experience that is designed for you to play forgetting and now to remembering who and what you are. You are here for the fun of this experience. Ego fun is strife, competition, self-loathing, manufactured drama, disease, us versus them, I'm right or I suck, and all different variations of that. But oh, spirit fun, and that's what you and I are together and countless others. We are here for the play of it, for the collaboration of it, for the generosity of being on this planet and in a body, for the imagination, for the trying new things, for the gratitude for the old, and the spirit of discovering and making new, for self-reflection and the increasing freedom that comes from our soul merging with our human consciousness. This is your opportunity of a lifetime. This is your opportunity to be a conscious force for something better awakening and being created on this planet. It's going to happen eventually, but you can augment that process. We're all going to this more better, as I like to use my no good English, but into this age of destruction, which is known as the Kali Yuga, into the golden age. Into the golden age. The age of harmony, health, happiness, and lasting prosperity for you, for me, and for everyone. Do your best, dear one, not to be seduced into the seesaw of winning and losing, of right and wrong, of us versus them. I'm not saying to play that game. Play that game. Vote if you're so inclined. Talk about what matters to you. Hold people and ways of being accountable for their lower vibrational destructive effect. But don't let it consume your connection, the portal to your spirit. Use your gifts and talents. Oh my goodness, and you are so gifted and so talented. And join forces with other rising visionaries. You are a rising visionary. And other relentless imaginaries. I just came up with that, but I love that. I'm a relentless imaginary. I so heartily invite you to be a relentless imaginary with me. Not just in this moment, but in all the moments of our personality ship. There are strength in numbers, and that strength is now time to link energetic arms, to link our human minds and our consciousness, and hold fast to our core values, which never have to do with the this and that of duality of this world. Our core values always have to do with that generosity, compassion, strength, bravery, power, harmony, health, wealth, happiness, youth, vitality, plus. That is the energy that springs from the infinite within us. And in this moment, know that you are answering the call of your soul. If you're here with me right now in this moment, and whatever the fleeting now measures it, we are in the eternal now. And I so applaud you for lending your presence to be a personal, familial, community, not a word, but I like it, planetary, beacon of love in motion, a beacon of light, a beacon of strength and security at this great transition, the great chaos reforming into the great cosmos, which is Greek for order. We are connected. Dear precious person, I heartily invite you to join me and receive the ventures that my relentless imaginary self has come here to serve for you, for me, for everyone and everything, for the creatures of this planet, the planet herself, and oh, sweet Lord, for the children and the children's children and the children's children. Let's find the strength within us and the joy within us and give ourselves the vibrating, alive serenity of going for what we long for ourselves and for everyone and everything. And just get the free Prosper Plus app if you haven't already. Receive the gifts of the expansive Prosperity for Life training that I have put in there for you. Upgrade to Prosper Plus Premium for really little squiggles or power agreements. Invest in yourself. Invest in these imaginary, rising visionary ventures like the Galactic Council of Women, All Genders Welcome. Let your childhood imagination be unleashed, combined with your deeply caring heart to create a better world and link up energetic arms and just join and receive. Explore joining the high vibrational Facebook group that I have been no choice. I know there's free will, but to create, called Women Asterix Attracting and Mastering Gobs of Money and Oodles of Power Uplifting the World, which is for anyone, regardless of gender expression, that reveres and respects the feminine principle of nurturing, of mother bear protection, of surrendering to infinite unconditional love without compromise, who respects and reveres the female body and the incredible strength and seeming miracles that the body goes through in time with the full moon and the tides and the new moon, and the ability to host and birth new life like a warrior for creation that it is, and that respects and reveres the energy of mother that then serves with intuition, with strength, with passion, and with lightness of heart. I mean, spitting a baby out of your vagina, which I wish it was as easy as spitting, or having it cut out in a C-section. I mean, there's a quote from Mayor Baba that goes like this: true love is no game for the faint-hearted or weak. It is born of strength and understanding. And that's the game that we're playing. We're in the true love game, you and I. And I believe the creme de la creme at this fleeting now, eternal now moment of being me is the Fierce Feminine Prosperity Power 12-week life-changing catapulting program that is flowing through me like cosmic wildfire for countless willing souls that are ready to receive everything that they've longed for. Plus, whenever I say plus in any of my stuff, the plus is always the natural cup overflowing and serving those they love and everyone and everything. It is the most extraordinary experience of love in motion, of light, of lightness, of transformation, and of a way to own our prosperity power. To prosper means to flourish, to grow, to strengthen, to thrive. And since we people equate money, or those squiggles that we call numbers on a screen or on paper, on plastic, on metal, as power, it's time for us to fiercely own that power for ourselves, to access, cultivate, and direct it in accordance with universal truths. And the power of November, the energy being imported right now in the fleeting now and the eternal now is ripe for the picking. Invest in yourself. Join with others. Build those internal and external links so that you give yourself the ability to sleep at night and wake up in the morning with the enthusiasm and deep, deep gratitude for who and what you stand for. Dear, wonderful, spectacular person, I am with you. I know how magnificent you are, and we are doing this together. Come play some more. Love, power, and incredible blessings. Mwah. If you enjoyed this episode, wonderful person, and you'd like to share the love, the power, and the possibilities, please post about it on social media and share it with your people. I'd really appreciate that.